Hi guys, welcome back to the vlog. I hope you're keeping well. I hope you had a good Christmas and many happy hours of reading in the new year to you. I'm here to discuss a book called Half in Shadow by Gemma Liviero. It's a book that I bought on the Book Depository. Sometimes I call it the Book Suppository, but it is an excellent website. I had tried to buy the book in local shops and then also some local websites here, but it wasn't available. Now, this wasn't the book that I originally wanted to buy. I wanted to buy another book, but next to it, as I went for a browse, and it was excellent marketing by the Book Depository, I happened to see this particular book, and it's got a lovely cover to it. Now, should we judge the book by the cover? Well, we shouldn't, but we tend to do. And there I was, and as a photographer myself, I was looking at the light shining in through the window and shining down the staircase. And there's an element of intrigue as this lady is about to climb these staircases, or the staircase. And yes, you are wondering, there's a story there. And I got caught up in it. It seemed to be sometime in the early 20th century, maybe, this large house, possibly. And again, the questions were there. What is it? And I was attracted to the cover, as I say. So I bought both books, and this is the one I actually read first. Should we judge the book by the cover? We certainly shouldn't. But we do. We're human. And a lovely cover will always attract us. So just a little note to, let's say, writers and publishers, the cover is important. So getting on with it, I opened up the book. I rarely ever read the blurbs because I feel they give away too much information. And I started reading the book. And I hit the first speed bump. It was about World War I. Now, I have nothing against World War I, and let's be honest, there were so many people killed there, and so many people did great things during World War I. But I have read so many books about World War I. Quite an amount of the books that are published these days are about some war, invariably maybe World War I or World War II. So I was kind of looking for something a little different, truth be told. World War I books can be a hard read. A superb book would be All Quiet on the Western Front. Excellent book, love it. But it isn't easy. It's tough. It's an emotionally tough read. And so therefore I was back in World War I again, somewhere that I didn't really want to be and didn't expect to be. Now, before I go on, I do want to say one thing. We're talking about, let's say, the quality of cover that you'd find in books, and the quality of, let's say, the actual picture. But I love a book that you hold in your hands and you sit down, and it's maybe my time out, really, be it maybe in bed early in the morning or late in the evening, or during the day, sitting in a lovely comfortable chair and having the book to hold in my hands. I don't read books on Kindle. I don't read books on my phone. I don't enjoy reading them. I enjoy having the actual physical book in my hand. And so why am I telling you this here? Because this has just a lovely soft cover feel to it. So well done to the publishers. Really, really nice to hold and read. Some books can be clunkier. This certainly wasn't. And yet very durable as well as being soft. So well done to the publishers there. Moving on. So I started reading the book, and after about 50, 60, 70, 80 pages, I really started getting engaged with this particular book. And the reason being the quality of writing, the quality of story, the prose that were there, the descriptions, very rich. It is no surprise, and I only checked this out afterwards, that this particular book got 4.3 in book reads. So what's the story about? It starts in 1938, really, which is a bit kind of strange, not World War I, as you might say, but it's about maybe, say, people in a certain situation and finding themselves in a certain situation, finding certain information about people, their ancestors, be it maybe parents, uncles, aunts, cousins. I don't want to give away too much in this story because it's a very plot-driven story. I'll be saying that a couple of times during this particular review. And most of the story takes place around 1914, 1915. Now, whereabouts does the story take place? Well, there's two different stories running within this story, and they converge about halfway through. The first one I talked to you about is the Belgian connection, because most of the story is based in Belgium, and basically the history of maybe World War One would have been when, after you know, let's say the war was declared, Germany were hoping to attack France. France were hoping to defend themselves. Both had large defence systems down. On France, it would have been the eastern side, and Germany, the western side, the Maginot Line, for instance. So Germany had a plan of heading through Belgium, the soft underbelly, and then attacking France and getting into France, because the Maginot Line finished at the Belgian border. Holland at the time were neutral, and so therefore Germany invaded Belgium, completely took over the country, ransacked it, and used it as a gateway into France. And so we begin with in Louvain, the town or city of Louvain, with the family, the Deschamps. And the main protagonist there would have been Josephine, the daughter. I think she was the only daughter within a six-member family. And they're attacked just like everybody else, and they find that their family is basically, you know, their life has changed for them completely, as they are controlled and dominated and domineered by the invading Germans. The family are uprooted from Louvain. Some of them, unfortunately, don't meet with a happy ending, and that happens early in the actual story itself. And the remaining members of the family regroup in Brussels. Now, Josephine is fortunate enough to get a job in the Hotel Metropole, and while she's there, she gets involved in the resistance movement, the underground movement in Belgium. And she is befriended at that particular hotel by a German officer called Franz, who seems to have a kind of a thing for her, and he is kind of favouring her with you know, different trinkets and trying to curry favour with her. He at the same time has to be the tough German officer outside, and with his own forces, and with her he tries to be a more tender character. How that can happen, especially when your country has been taken over, well, Franz believes that there could be a relationship there. I'm not going to go into too much of the plot. The bottom line is that some of the remaining members of Josephine's family end up working for the Germans, but they're not really working for the Germans. Secretly, they're working for the underground. And so the themes of this particular book, and there are not too many themes. It's, as I've said earlier, it is a plot-driven story, and it's very exciting because there are twists and turns. And as the story develops, and as the two different stories converge, and I'll talk to you about the second one in a while, it gets even more intricate. So I don't want to destroy this story for you. I haven't come anywhere near giving too many reveals, to be honest, and I won't in this particular review. But I will say to you that there are a lot of twists and turns. Whilst that is happening, we then have the second part of the story, and for about the first 180, 200 pages, about half the book, we go from the English side to the Belgian side, to the English story to the Belgian story. Now, the English story deals with a man called Arthur. We're not given a second name for whatever reason, and his wife Harriet. And unfortunately, their son, and they seem to have had their son, his name was Jack, quite young. Their son Jack has been killed in the first couple of battles of World War I. and naturally they are devastated. It has had a big effect on Harriet, so much so that the marriage is in deep trouble, and she has decided that maybe it might be best to finish this marriage. So she has headed from London up to Birmingham, and Arthur is left bereft. Now he doesn't have a son, now he doesn't have a wife or a family, all in the space of several weeks. He's not that happy in the job that he's in, so he makes a decision that, do you know what I'll do? I'll actually join the forces. One, I'll feel that I'm doing something good for my country. Two, I'll try and pay back something to Jack, whose life has been lost at a very young age. And I suppose Arthur is probably late 30s, probably early 40s. And so he heads off to war and fights for the English forces. He's a lot older than a lot of his comrades, but yet he's well accepted by them, and on top of that too, well respected by them. And so his story, as we don't have too many entrench battles, as it were, but his story is that he gets segregated from his group, and the two stories, that of Josephine Descharmes and that of Arthur, converge. And I don't want to say in what way they do and they don't, because I'm giving away too much. But from then on, it's a kind of a roller coaster of a story, really. I can't think of any other word to say. And so really, after I put down this book, I really thought, yeah, I understand why I got 4.3. I was really delighted that I stuck with the World War I, because after a while, maybe 50, 80 pages, it was irrelevant. The story went on. What themes are there? Obviously, there's the theme of war. There's the theme of love, of all different kinds and shapes. Family love, brotherly love, comradeship within the war, and the love between a man and a woman. And also we have another element or theme would be betrayal, and finally I would think fear, the fear that existed within these great people who are defending their country in Belgium. And it was very fresh to actually have this story from Belgium. Any books that I've read, maybe say on World War I or World War II, regarding the underground, regarding the resistance, were normally based in France. Here we were getting the Belgians' side to the whole thing. And very interesting as well too, how the writer Gemma Liviero, and an excellent writer, as I've said already, was able to, let's say, show that some were very pro-German, mainly pro-German just to save their own skins, and some are very anti-German. And the falseness within people, the fear that was there within the people, the fear that, nobody could be trusted, and especially those who were doing work for the resistance, that they might be at any stage betrayed by somebody else. So that's, very strong themes in this particular, as you would expect in a book dealing with war. Would I recommend the book to anybody? Absolutely, without a doubt. And so when I go back to my original question, should we judge the book by the cover? Well, we shouldn't judge the book by the cover, but I'm very, very glad that I judged this book by the cover, because it was a super book, and I'd certainly be looking out for other Gemma Liviero books in the future. I'd rate it at possibly 8.5 out of 10. And I've said earlier, no surprise at all that it did so well on the Goodreads. So now, if you have read this book, please put some, comment in the comment box underneath, or if you want to feel like putting it in, I try and promote this particular vlog on many different reading and book club Facebook pages. If you want to put a comment there as well too, I'll certainly be delighted to see it. I would highly recommend it. Certainly a book for the new year if you want a good book, a good read. So now, thank you very much for joining me today. If you liked what you saw, please give me a like. It helps develop the channel. And if you haven't subscribed already, well, why not do so? And yeah, I'm going to be bringing quite an amount of book reviews to my channel this particular year. Till the next time, talk to you soon. Take care.